we all fit?
Yes.
Good. It's wonderful to see all of you. Thank you so much for coming and having a conversation today. As you know, I'm Kristi Noem, the Secretary of Homeland Security, and we have been running the department now for almost a year since President Trump has taken office, and the President of the United States, and won his campaign based on promising to the American people that he would make America safe again. And the number one crisis that we had going on at the time, at the end of last year, 2 years ago almost, or a year and a half ago, was the invasion over the southern border. And what we saw as a tragedy happening down here that all of you every single day were living with. And you watched your livelihoods, your ranches, your family businesses be destroyed by what was being allowed by individuals coming into this country that were dangerous. We saw people on the terrorist watch list, suspected terrorist watch list, criminals, people from other countries coming into our country, breaking our laws. They were devastating your land, and many of them were perpetuating crimes against families along the border as they trafficked drugs and humans into our country. The estimated number of individuals that we believe came in during that time under the Biden administration has only increased as we've learned more and more about the amount of people that came in and how they not only have established themselves in our country, we're all continuing to unveil not just the crimes they've committed, but also how they've perpetuated fraud of our benefit programs and programs that were created to serve the most vulnerable people in our country, to give them health care, to help developmentally disabled individuals. Not only were they here illegally and broke our immigration laws, but then they came here and stole from the American taxpayers as well. But I wanted to come down and visit with all of you today to have you share a little bit of your story, maybe a little bit about your family, who you are, where you live, and if it's along the border, and then the dramatic change that you've seen, what you lived through during the Biden administration years, how different it was just a little over a year ago, and what the difference is today. And maybe one of the things that I have always learned my entire life is that we need to be teachable. The greatest gift or trait you could ever teach your kids or people in your life is that every day you can learn something new that can help you do an even better job. So that's why I'm here today, is I want to learn from you. I'm so proud to work for a president that takes the safety of Americans seriously, that this border has had 0 people come into this country illegally in the last 11 months in a row. That's the longest period of time in history. But the president is committed to continuing to do that. And not only why he's doing that, building a wall that will provide the security that our country needs, but then also making sure that we have policies in place and that we're enforcing them that will protect our American way of life for generations to come. So I'm going to turn it over now to our Chief of the Border, Mike Banks, and let him share a few words as well. He lived through the hell of that invasion as well, and has worn many different hats in life, but also this is your home too.
This is. And so, like the Secretary said, South Texas is my home. This is where I call home when I'm not up in D.C., and so I felt it very appropriate to bring the Secretary down here because this is where we saw the brunt of all the trafficking going on during the Biden administration. And like the Secretary said, we're not releasing people anymore. Catch and release is over. We're providing consequences, punishment, and deportation for those that are coming to the country illegally. And I thought no better place for the Secretary to come to see the dramatic change that we've been able to bring over the last 11 months. And what better place to do it in South Texas, where you guys had to deal with just thousands upon thousands of people a day cutting through your fields, cutting your fences, being smuggled, committing crimes, breaking into homes. And so I really want to thank, Bonnie for having us here, at the White Tip Dove Ranch. We really appreciate you hosting us. And I'm going to kick back over to Bonnie real quick and let Bonnie be the first to tell us our story.
Well, we're honored to have you here, Madam Secretary. It's a blessing to have you and all these agents with us today. I can tell you, my family's been here for over 100 years, and there's a couple of different loop farm organizations, but I work for my brother Frank. This is his property. We're happy to welcome you here to our little piece of the border. And I grew up running around here, riding bikes as a kid, and just my kids grew up down here. We've been farming for a long time. I can tell you this, during the Biden administration, when all of that was going on, you did not see an agent out here in the fields. They were too busy processing the illegals. There was very little ability to respond to anything, so you very seldom saw them. Once the administrations changed and President Trump took over, now you see them on a regular basis. Different agencies, in and out, there's great communication, and it's made a huge difference.
Thank you.
And it was a needed change, for sure.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you, Bonnie. Thank you for hosting us today and for your family's willingness to tell your story, because I know that you were dramatically impacted by those policies, and it's a different day today, and we're grateful for that, but we also need to continue to work with ranchers, working with landowners along the border to ensure that we have the security that we need for years to come. So, Mark, do you want to?
I'm her husband.
Yep,
of course.
good.
And I have a law enforcement background. I worked with Brownsville Police Department for 37 years. And I can remember how unsafe it was for my kids even to ride their bikes. And even coming home for lunch, I caught 2 different separate loads coming down our street from Florida going down. So that
Loads
pretty
of
much is
illegals?
dried up. No, it was loaded dope.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Coming home for lunch and leaving for lunch.
Yeah.
But it's not that way now. Before, we didn't even want our kids riding their bike on the road because when they would bring loads in, they would fly down our street and they didn't care. In fact, my daughter, who's a Border Patrol agent, was jogging one time. She had to get off the road because they were.
So were they trucks filled with drugs?
No, they're cars.
Uh-huh.
The ones that I stopped were cars, and they were just loaded. But that's pretty much dried up because the presence out here is you see a lot more agents out here than you ever did when Biden was, because like I said, it was all the processing that they did. So, but yes, it was bad out here.
It's incredible. We have seen since President Trump has been in office, just over the southern border, a 56% drop in just fentanyl that's been coming over the border. So significant of what just enforcing the law and having our Border Patrol agents out here being able to do their jobs again, what it does do for slowing down drug traffic. And it was a specific agenda by the cartels working with our enemies to kill off our next generation of Americans. And literally the Coast Guard every day is out on the waters. Now that we've secured the southern border, they're out on the waters interdicting drugs that they are shipping on our maritime seas and confiscating it by the tons. We've set historic records in what we're able to take out of production before it ever gets here. But I never thought about the fact of the roads being dangerous down here because so many loads.
Well, Bonnie and I, a year ago last summer, right before I retired and before President Trump took office, were walking and we went over the levee, and there were 3 guys carrying bundles.
Was there?
Yeah,
Really?
that we ran into. And I had her call Border Patrol. Probably within a minute they were there. They got all 3 bundles and they got 1 arrest. The other 2 took off into Mexico, but they did a great job.
That's good. Good. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Richard?
Richard,
Yes,
yes, ma'am.
good.
Thank you for being here.
Oh,
Appreciate
thank
your
you.
presence. And I really admire what you're doing. You're doing a great job. That man
Thank you.
next to you, I've known him for a long time.
Have you?
He's a good
You're
man.
going to speak for him? That's
I'll
good.
vouch for him.
You'll
He's a
vouch
good
for
man.
him.
I'll
Good.
take it.
But I want to tell you that I'm a South Texas cattle rancher. I ranch up in Starr County, Roma, Texas. And where I'm at, I'm just exactly 1 mile from the border, and the yellow and mine is right across from me. Cartels are right there. They fight each other every day, practically every day. I can hear them on my ranch. It's terrible. But prior to President Trump, thank God he came along. He is a great president. Now, I used to have a lot of traffic, human traffic, and cartel traffic, armed intrusions on my ranch. People carrying bags of dope or whatever. And that has all stopped, thank God, to Border Patrol. And I do have an aerostat on my
Okay.
ranch,
Do you?
which thank
Thank
God,
you.
Border Patrol I've had them there for a long time. I don't even charge them, ma'am. They're free.
Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
They're welcome to stay because I sleep better on
Yeah.
my ranch knowing that they're there. They come in and out of the ranch all the time. They've stopped so many people already. But it's been a lot better. In fact, it has been exceptionally better since President Trump came along. I always wanted it to be, and just chit-chat, Starr County used to be blue.
Yeah,
It is now red.
really.
It is
Did
red.
people change how they were voting because of what they saw happening at the border?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
And I can attest to you what they used to do, tear down the fences, cattle, cattle, tear down anything they could think of. It was horrible.
So what did you have to do to keep your family safe and feel safe on your ranch during that time when there were so many people coming across
Well,
your
I don't
ranch?
mind telling you, I carry guns.
Yeah, yeah,
Self-defense, I've got a double-barreled shotgun,
yeah,
you know, and I got a P-57 in my
Good.
truck all the time when I'm out at the ranch. But I built a game warden, a game fence around the ranch,
okay.
which has been real helpful, but they tear that thing in. And that's expensive to rebuild.
Yeah,
But the experience has been pretty much stopped, you know, since President Trump came along. And also, I have to thank Governor Abbott.
yeah,
Governor Abbott has been very active, as Mr. Banks will say, when he was the czar for Governor Abbott. I know Governor Abbott.
Yeah.
Thank God, I know this guy. So, you know, it's a big improvement to have the Border Patrol, the DPS, all around in Starr County. There's still some illegal activity going on,
yep,
you know, but the human trafficking has pretty well stopped,
good.
you know, so that, I am grateful to that, and I hope that it continues to safeguard our property and those around us. You know, it is a very satisfying feeling to have people around us like that. Border Patrol comes in and out all the time, day and night. Aerostat is up.
Good.
I am very comfortable with that.
Well, thank you for working with us. We appreciate having
Yes, ma'am.
a good rancher landowner like you that recognizes that we need those partnerships in order to keep people safe. And
I don't mind telling you that I've had senators come to the ranch and visit with me.
yeah,
Senator Cruz,
yep,
Senator Hardy,
okay, yep.
and met also with Senator, what's her name,
Blackburn.
yeah, her
Oh,
too.
sure, yep.
I met with them,
Smart lady.
and, you know, talk about our problems specifically in our area, which has been horrible.
Right.
But it now, thank God for the new president and you, I give you a lot of credit for doing what you're doing. So, thank you so much, appreciate your presence, and thanks for being here.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. When President Trump first asked me, you know, he said, Kristi, I know that I'd like to have you in my administration. What job would you be interested in? I said, sir, I'd be interested in Homeland Security. And he said, why would you want that job? It's a little bit of a controversial job. And I said, well, sir, it's your #1 priority. And I think you're going to have somebody who actually is tough enough to do it, who actually will. It's because we're not going to fix the situation that Biden got us in 6 months or in a year. It's going to take us a long time of making the right decisions in order to get all the dangerous folks out of our country, to start how the world needs to know that we're enforcing our laws now and that we're going to put the American people first.
Well,
So,
we thank you for that, thank you, and thank President Trump.
yeah, I'll tell him.
He's got my support
Yeah.
anytime.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, Richard. Deborah?
Madam Secretary, I just want to thank you for being here. I grew up out here my whole life. We rode horses. I trained for my first half marathon out here along the border. I myself am into politics locally because having been on the farm and growing up and listening to the farmers and ranchers and all the locals talk, they felt like they didn't have a voice. And nothing was truer during the Biden administration when we couldn't get anybody to come down here and look at what was truly going on during his administration at the border. Having been in politics locally, I used to get calls all the time. We've got issues downtown. We've got folks panhandling at our businesses, sleeping on our streets, showering in our streets. And I am so very grateful that we've got you guys everywhere now. You yourself from Washington have come and looked at what's going on here in Brownsville. We couldn't even get the border czar at the time to come do that when we had 2,000 people a night crossing. And I am very, very grateful to see the steps and the strategies that the president has put in place to help combat what we were seeing a couple of years ago.
Good.
And I'm thrilled. I was one of the ones down here locally that championed to help him get elected, and I'm absolutely thrilled to see him in office and doing what he said he was going to do, which was one of our top priorities living here on the border for sure, and having to deal with it daily. So thank you for being here, and thank you for taking notice.
So if you're a runner and you were during those years, did you feel like you were safe going out for a?
You run in twos.
Yes.
My sister's a Border Patrol agent, and she often runs with me. And then,
Okay.
as Mr. Guetta said, we always carry.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Always. My grandpa taught me that
extra.
from a young age.
Yeah, that's
so,
right.
yeah, I learned to shoot early.
That's right. Good. Yes, sir.
Tommy Gendrish,
Tommy.
fourth-generation Texan, born here, and farm vegetables and ranch cattle, ranch up in Benny's County up there.
Okay.
So I've had experience with illegals there and down here. Don't have a river farm, but I know many of these guys that do have these river farms, what they've been going through, but it's the same way. We have a friend there in Eagle Pass that was, 2,000 a day. And it's gone to nothing, like you said. And one of the real sad things about it, your agents hated it back in the day. They just
Yeah.
didn't even want to go to work. And now they're very proud.
Yeah. They finally get to do their jobs, and they feel like they can do it with respect again.
Yes, ma'am.
Because they take an oath to protect people and to enforce the law, and they were told by their superiors to not enforce the law, to break the law. And they had a difficult time with that. I know nobody knows that better than Chief, but they were very, very happy to get to work as soon as January 20th came around and President Trump was sworn in.
Yes.
It was a game changer.
And I better mention my wife is from South Dakota.
Oh, she is?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. Well, you pick them good then.
Plankington.
Yeah, that's a good.
Yes.
Well, I hope you
Yes.
come up and visit once in a
We'll be
while.
up there this summer, hopefully.
Not in January.
Yeah. When she asked me if I ever want to live there, I said, yeah,
Yeah.
100 degrees in the summer and minus 30 in the winter. I don't know. I think I might
No,
stay down here.
There's days you think the weather's trying to kill you.
Yes.
That's right. Oh,
Thank you,
good.
ma'am. Madam?
So is it Thomas or Tommy or?
Yes, Tommy Hanka.
Okay.
I'm a vegetable farmer in South
Okay.
Texas, and I own land right on the river, north of the wall and south of the
Okay.
wall. And before the Trump administration, we simply did not go down there after dark. And unlike these guys, I don't carry a gun because I didn't want to get in a shootout with these guys. But now we can irrigate all night. We irrigate 24 hours a day.
Okay.
But south of the wall, we used to have to shut it off at dark. And also, we used to have to move the equipment north of the wall because it would get vandalized or stolen. And thank you guys so much for simply enforcing the laws that we've had.
Yes.
Cannot commend you guys enough.
Was there costs and impact to your business that you were spending more money to repair equipment? And
Oh,
to-
absolutely. It would get vandalized or
Yeah.
stolen, and then just the whole operations, you'd have to manipulate the whole operations so the people can work into it. And
Yeah.
the starter water is not simply opening a valve.
No.
You have to open the valve a mile up the way, and then by the time it gets there, it was very inefficient.
Well, and for some crops, it's more beneficial if you can be watering them at night. They will do better, and the fact that you weren't able to do that means you weren't able to have the production you necessarily could have.
I'd love to comment that the Border Patrol agents that I meet, they're all professional, they're polite, they're good guys. You have a good group of people.
Good. Thank you. I think so too. Yep, go ahead.
Madam Secretary, I'd be remiss if I didn't say thank you for the opportunity to lead the men and women here in the RGB sector. This is my second week on the ground, so thank you.
Good.
And additionally, on behalf of 3,300 agents here in the RGB, thank you, and I'm going to echo some of the sentiments. During the last administration, effectively 3,300 agents here were muted. They weren't able to do the job. They were relegated to desks and offices processing illegal aliens into this country. I was here 5 years ago when we had 2,000 to 3,000 entries a day. To see it now and to see the morale of the agents and actually enforcing the law again, thank you for the policies, and thank you for the unprecedented support. Really appreciate it.
What do they need?
More wall, more barrier, and that's coming with time.
Okay.
To continue closing some of the gaps that were left during the Biden administration or areas of wall that weren't finished. We have approximately 60 miles here
Okay.
that haven't been complete, and the cartels are still exploiting some of those gaps. We fill those with our partners, DOW, our Department of War partners, and Coast Guard has come down to assist us.
Yeah.
Appreciate the support there as well, man, to close some of those gaps. But once we have an effective wall and then a buoy system in, that will prevent
Yeah.
and allow agents to respond in time to interdict.
Good. Yeah, we're going to get the opportunity here in a little bit to go look at some of the new buoy system that's going in and being installed, but getting that wall built is one of the top priorities of President Trump. He asks about it all the time, making sure that it's going to be built, and what his concern is that you get an administration in the future, if you just install technology or cameras and don't have a complete full wall and infrastructure, that if there's an administration that wants to do what Joe Biden did before, they would just turn off the technology. And then you'd have no security at all. So we're going to get it built and build it. He's very particular how he wants it built. He knows exactly what he wants, and we'll make sure that it's strong and that it lasts for generations. Thank you. Paul.
Well, Secretary, I'm glad that you're here to see this firsthand. I'm one of the 3,300 agents. Started my career almost 29 years ago. So I was here in Brownsville, in this specific area, in 97 and 98 when we were being overrun back then. And then what Biden did was far worse than what Clinton did, during his term. And so I can tell you, this area, I've been fortunate to bring numerous CODELs, members of the House and Senate, down here to see for themselves exactly what was going on, and to actually witness the Biden administration literally lay down the red carpet for the illegal aliens to come across. And so if it weren't for Governor Abbott, and at the time Borders Are Banks shutting that area down, Texas would have become #1 for apprehensions. Fortunately, we had a governor at the time that was willing to step in and make sure that didn't happen. But our agents were, they were humiliated by what they were having to do. The amount of people that came in, the amount of drugs, like they said earlier, we had no manpower to go out and respond to calls from ranchers and farmers. We had no manpower to go and respond to 911 calls from aliens in distress in Brooks County and Claiborne County, because everybody, the priority for the administration was process and release. Catch and release was all they were interested in. And it wasn't even catch. These people were turning themselves in because they were facilitating the entry of people from across the world to come into the United States illegally. We couldn't vet them. We were told all you need to do is process and release them. And so we are fortunate to have President Trump and you building this strong team of border security experts to make sure that that does not happen, at least under his watch. And so we hope that every administration in the future takes a look at what President Trump was able to do and mimic that and make sure that we are never put in the situation that President Biden put us in.
Right.
So
Oh,
we
that's great.
appreciate
Well, thank you for your leadership and for being such a strong voice for how it was and what we need today for the tools in order to keep the border secure and to have it be a game changer for not just our agents and our Border Patrol, but also for all the families that live here and those that across the country. I was governor during that time, and Governor Abbott asked all the states to send National Guard to come help down here, and so I deployed my National Guard down here several times. But the commitment that Texas made was incredible and unprecedented, so we're extremely grateful for his leadership as well, and that he still continues to work with us and works with President Trump to make sure that we have exactly effective measures. You guys learned a lot during that time of what works, what doesn't work, what policies we need to change, how we build wall that is secure, and that's all helped us and informed us as well, that fight that Texas had. But, Susan?
Madam Secretary, I'm Susan Kibbe. I live approximately 80 miles north of the border on brush country, farmland, ranch land. I began working for South Texans Property Rights Association as the executive director, and this was the formation issue, was border security. So over the years, we've been able to put tools in place. We advocate for law enforcement, federal, state, and local, because we understand, landowners understand that law enforcement is our first line of defense. And so.
We need you to come to Minneapolis.
I'll give it a shot.
Yeah. You probably heard what some of the hotels up there have done to our law enforcement.
Yes, but then
up
I
there.
heard what's happened since.
Yes.
So that's good news.
Yep.
And so over the years, we've seen the ebbs and flows, and even during the Obama administration, we had attention that, paid to us. We were able to go and advocate and get someone to hear us and come down and see what was going on. But with the Biden administration, it was like the landowner is not important. We don't care about you. We don't care about your safety. It's open borders, let them in. And if it hadn't been for our law enforcement partners reaching out to Mike Banks, as soon as we found out that the governor had appointed him as the Texas border czar, I called him up and he called me the next day, and we worked together ever since.
So when you were trying to work during that time, during the Biden administration, did they take your meetings?
No, no.
Even
no
I, as a
meetings,
governor,
no
they
calls.
wouldn't, Biden wouldn't respond to me, wouldn't answer phone calls,
No.
wouldn't take meetings, even though we were trying to talk about issues that were important to the country.
So just trying to keep making noise, and of course, we had all the Republican senatorial and congressional delegations come down, and if it hadn't been for Governor Abbott stepping up and creating Operation Lone Star, and the sheriffs jumping in and coming in to replace Border Patrol because they weren't able to, I don't know what we would have done. And now it's just a 180, and we're so appreciative. Thank God for all of you.
Good. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir.
Madam Secretary, thank you for being here. I'm Benny Martinez. I've been in law enforcement for 46 years, starting my 47th year this year in January. In Brooks County, we have an awesome checkpoint there. It's one of the busiest checkpoints in the Southwest Corridor. The men and women in green do an excellent job. Our issue is the fact that we're 70 miles north of the border. We recover a lot of dead bodies. Okay, from 2009 to now, we have recovered 997 bodies,
Really?
and every single body Border Patrol has been with us. Okay, now the fact that we're just getting overwhelmed, the Governor Perry stepped in and helped us because we lost a lot of funds. The county did, and then of course now Governor Abbott is with us. Now I have a permanent morgue now that can house about 48 deceased bodies. But what Border Patrol did that helped us tremendously is the fact they were so mission driven that they fostered a missing migrant program where they were able to identify a lot of these bodies, and we got them back to the respective countries. They're also part of the group that when we meet with the consulates, we visit with consulates on a constant basis, every quarter, every half year, just to see the updates on it, because there's always missing persons. Okay, so last year alone, because of all the implementations the Border Patrol doing, basically enforcing the rule of law, right, and doing what they've done along the river, we only recovered 8 bodies for the year. 8.
Tell me what the perspective was. What was it 2 years ago?
8 from 65.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So that's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Now, a lot of these bodies we recovered actually have been there 36, 48 months. Because what happens, our terrain is real sandy. So when they die, the feral hogs will come in and start taking the body apart. So when they move cattle, the dirt comes up, and here comes up the remains. So that's how we recover these bodies. So it's one of those issues that without the men and women in green, we wouldn't have been able to have done it.
Are most of
period.
these bodies migrants that crossed and died from exhaustion, died from
either
heat?
we recovered 6 bodies all tangled up together. That was one of the hard frees we had back in South Texas. They were all together, they're all hugging each other.
Goodness.
And we had a hard time to kind of
See,
dislodging them.
that's the inhumanity of what Joe Biden did.
Yes.
Is by doing that and sending the message around the world that come to America, our borders are open, it encouraged people to come and to make that trek and to put their lives in jeopardy and to endanger their children. And so many children got lost and trafficked and ended up in situations like that because they were, handled by the cartels and.
Yeah, yes, and this is not to say about the rape victims we've had also. And Border Patrol is aware of the rape victims. They're victims. They get victimized by the same guide, the coyote. They do that to them. So it's been quite a challenge for us, but because of this administration implementing all the right objectives, right, being mission-driven, so it has helped us a lot on our end.
Were the majority of the bodies from Mexican descent, do you think?
No,
or
ma'am. We have, I think, 4 different countries: El Salvador, Honduras, Mexico, and Guatemala.
Okay. Okay.
Did I leave one out? I think, right, Paul, that's pretty much,
Those are the main ones.
those are the main ones.
Okay.
And it varies from the age of 18 to 65, 70. There's no, males and females, they're around about 50-50. Doesn't discriminate, it happens.
Okay.
It happens.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Benny. Thank you for your service,
Yeah,
too.
thank you for being here, ma'am.
Appreciate it.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you and everything that you've done. I am a 3rd-generation farmer. I farm just down the road in San Juan. Every day I farm behind the wall, right on the river. And my family has been there for 85 years. We own that land. We farm that land. It's our livelihood. It's what we love to do. We're blessed to do. It's interesting being a female down there by myself every day, checking fields, driving around by myself, and it's been incredible to see the change since President Trump has taken office and just the empowerment of the agents to do their jobs. I could go days without seeing an agent, in the previous years. Now, on my river farm, I see 4 or 5 different agents every day and, work with them very well, always acknowledge them, say hello. They know we will support them in any way. They are always respectful of the work we're doing down there. They're great to work with. There were times in the past when, I would be checking fields and hear gunshots and just run to my car as fast as I could and, drive off. We would be harvesting and there would be machine gun fights, a couple yards away right across the river. We're farming directly on the river. So just to have the agents there able to do their job, it's allowed us to operate much more efficiently. It's allowed us to be there when it gets dark, like they were saying. And, we run equipment down there 24 hours a day. We irrigate down there 24 hours a day. So having that security and, feeling safe to do our job and feeling safe to feed the country and, do what we're here to do is just a big blessing for us. So we appreciate it very much.
Well, thank you all. What do I need to know? Or what's a question that you may have or something that you think would be beneficial? Yes, sir.
I would like to see a Neverstadt go back to Brooks County, ma'am.
Okay.
Because of that checkpoint, they circumvent the checkpoint.
Yep.
So that's just how we get these walkers, those drive-throughs.
Yep.
Where it's picking up again.
Okay.
So that is very essential to assist
Is that scheduled to be?
the men and women in Border Patrol,
Okay.
and us, for that matter.
Yep.
And I think that our communications is getting better, as always, but we need that. That's definitely needed, just like Richard feels real comfortable. I know that the men in Greenwood feel comfortable because there's no eyes out there at all. They
Benny,
just,
was that a maintenance problem, or what caused them to take that down?
the administration just took it down as soon as
Before-
Biden
okay.
took over. Yes.
It wasn't the Biden administration priority.
Yeah.
There were some members of Congress that didn't feel the money that was being paid for it was worth it. They told us directly, they said, we don't
Yeah.
think the money's worth it.
That aerostat's good for like 30 miles, right?
Yep.
The aerostats are great.
So
Mr.
amazing.
Guetta can attest to that.
So the good news is, Benny, you're getting a new one, and it's actually going to be, we call them autonomous, and so they actually fly longer, it requires less actual manpower working it. But the truth is, Tommy, that the administration didn't want you to see what was crossing out there. So if you've got a camera up there seeing for 30 miles and count the bodies, kind of go back to what Benny said, 900 bodies, right? The Biden administration came in and immediately claimed that they were going to make it a humane border. Our border under the Biden administration was the least humane border we've ever had in the history of the United States Border Patrol. Our deaths went through the roof every year after year, breaking record numbers of deaths. And what we've seen in just 1 year is an 88% decrease in deaths along this border, right? Which is going to reduce. I would even challenge Benny that the majority of those 8 you found were probably from the previous administration, if you go back, like you said, up to 48 months. And so there was nothing humane about the Biden border crisis. It wasn't humane, it wasn't economically smart, and we're not only did we see the deaths on the border, but what we're seeing in the interior in the country of what havoc they're bringing to this country. And so with the leadership of President Trump and Secretary Noem, I have never had the kind of support that I've had, like I have from Secretary Noem. And we tell her what we need, and she gives it to us. She listens to what the Border Patrol tells her what we need to get the job done. And the fact is, every man and woman out here wearing this uniform knows exactly how to secure the border. We just weren't allowed to do it. We were ordered not to do it and threatened with termination or anything else, threatened our livelihoods if we did. And this administration literally has just said, what do you need? You know how to do it. And we're going to get those gaps closed. We're closing them as we speak. Later today, we'll go and see the buoys that we're putting in the ground, and that is just the start. And so we have seen a 55-year low in illegal cross-border traffic, but I promise you this, we're just getting started. It's all gas, no brakes downhill. We are not going to settle for a 90% decrease. We want 100% decrease. We want 100% operation control of this border. The Secretary demands it of me, and she should demand it of me, and that's what I'm going to deliver for her and for America.
We had this first year, 2.6 million people leave our country. So with the help of Border Patrol, and you've seen them around the country, they're helping on law enforcement operations with ICE and other agencies, arrested over 600,000 criminal illegal aliens, ones who had committed crimes and were dangerous individuals out on our streets. That many of them that sanctuary cities and liberal governors and mayors are just releasing from their jails and from their courts and turning them loose, and we're picking them up and getting them out of the country. But also just by the messaging that you've seen, President Trump was very clear that we needed to send a message around the world to tell people, if you're in this country illegally, go home. Go home now on your own, and if you want to come back again, don't wait for us to remove you. If we have to remove you, you'll never get the chance to come back to the United States. But if you go home, you will have a chance to make the American dream come true for you and your family. And over 2 million people have voluntarily left this country and gone home, and we're going to continue to send that message. And the message is sent when you start enforcing your laws. And they know now it's different. Everywhere around the world knows that it's different, and it's a different environment. Tell me if you've seen a little bit more activity recently, because the cartels are extremely sophisticated. And of course they've got, we have severely damaged their billions of dollar industry and economy and by what we've done here. So they're getting more and more investments into drones and into technology. And have you seen some of that activity down here, or maybe on your ranches, that we need to be prepared for and be recognizing that they're either dropping drugs across the border or they're doing surveillance on our Border Patrol? I don't know, Bonnie, if you've seen something here.
So Madam Secretary, I don't think you necessarily have to focus completely on technology. And I'll give you a brief example. Back in the spring, I got a phone call from Border Patrol wanting to know when we had put in a new ramp on the property.
Okay.
I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And so I said, must be the neighboring property. He said, okay, we'll check it out. Called me. I said, no, ma'am, it's here. So I said, okay, I'll come. So I go over there and meet him, and sure enough, there's a ramp from the river up into the property. And he had said, you must have hauled in some equipment. I said, no, sir. So I called my brother. He had mapped my husband and I over there. And he goes, no, this was done by a shovel crew. Guys,
Oh, really?
they came in during the night, shoveled a ramp, crossed their drugs, I think y'all
Wow.
actually got them. But
Did
I'm
ya?
just saying, it's not only technology.
Yeah.
They're resourceful. They have their little mini armies that are capable of using the simple things,
Interesting.
simple tools like shovels.
Yeah,
So now we have a new boat ramp.
that's right. That's true. There you go. There you go.
And may I make one more?
Yes.
One thing that did not exist during the Biden administration was stakeholder meetings. These guys have brought them back, and it gives the landowners an opportunity to sit with one another and with our agents and have good conversations, share information, and I think it's a valuable tool. It, you know, and I'm
It is.
glad to see it come
Absolutely.
back, and I
We'll
hope they'll
continue to
continue to do that.
Absolutely.
It's a guarantee.
Yeah. Well, as you all know, I'm a farmer and a rancher, spent my whole life doing that. In fact, I remember growing up as a little girl thinking God must love ranchers more than he loves anybody else, because everything in the Bible is about sowing and reaping and cattle on 1,000 hills and your barns overflowing. But the one thing that I've always thought is that farmers and ranchers are the biggest gamblers I've ever known. You literally go borrow money from a bank and you put it in the dirt, and then you go borrow money again to buy the seed and fertilizer, the chemical, to buy the land, the machinery, and then once you plant it, you pray that the sun will shine, you'll get some rain, and you can go back there months later and pick up something to help pay your bills. And if you have a really good year, you pay your bills. But if you have a bad year, you could lose everything. And I've never known a career or a choice that is such a risky business, but yet people who do it because they love the land, they love the legacy of it, they recognize the importance of feeding this country. And so I want to thank you for what you do. And I want to thank you for caring about this land and not being people who fold up, sell out, and leave and gave up because of the devastation that you saw in your family business. Thank you for being tough and being an inspiration to everybody else. And you will always have the ear of President Trump, because he's here to fight for you and for your business. Thank you for feeding us and for being an inspiration, but also thank you for giving us all the advice and wisdom and supporting our law enforcement as they continue to keep the border safe and to keep our country safe. Is there anything else? Yes, sir?
You know, farming and ranching is a matter of economics. That's what it is. And you hit on it right on the head, because economics,
Yeah.
when you're risking everything that you have, you know, you never know how you're going to come out. But in the end, it's a matter of economics.
That's right.
How you handle it is important.
Yeah.
But sometimes the weather, you
Politicians.
can't do anything about that. Maybe you got a lot of snow, we got a lot of drought.
That's right.
But it is a matter of economics, and I can't stress that.
Yeah.
Need a lot of prayers, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
a lot of
You know,
prayers.
it is that. So, no, and I appreciate you coming in, and I cannot overstress the importance of an aerostat.
Okay, we'll get them.
It is necessary to have one, and I agree with him, they need one.
Yeah. We'll keep them up, and we'll continue to maintain them and keep them in place. Thank you,
ma'am.
sir. You bet.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, appreciate it.